that clock always runs, no matter what clock, no matter what batteries you put in, it always runs slow. So it's 3 o'clock now. I said call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. Jessica, will you do the roll call? Supervisor Wolway here. Deputy Clerk Pace is here. Assessor Barrington here. Trustee Bowman
here.
Trustee Glass. Trustee Sams
Here.
Trustee Beckler here. Township Administrator Marcidiak
Here.
Highway Superintendent DePaul. Director Dillon is absent. Director Mark here. And Management Assistant Wolda here. Okay. I just said it. So join me in the
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Time where we open the meeting to public comment. Anybody here wish to make a public comment? Okay. Number 5 is discussion with Central Lake County. We're just going to move that back a little. It'll be a little bit later. We're going to go to number 6, which is discussion with Paul Virgilio with Virgilio Associates regarding the Town Hall Emergency Stairway project.
So if you would mind going to the podium, Paul? Yes, okay. The microphone so that we'll be able to hear you. Most of the stuff should be in there.
Okay. That's just
we have the board.
Okay. All right.
We're going to just keep here just in case there's something coming out.
Ted, can Robert have one?
Sure.
Mr. Virgilio is joining us today to talk about the project of adding an emergency staircase to the back of the building, which wasn't installed. He has some different options, and also the facade project that we're working on.
If you can pass that up, because I've got the option numbers labeled on the other one, then I'll have it on here. Can everybody hear me? Yes. All right. Thank you for having me here today. As already stated, that we worked on this project when it started here, right outside of here, and it stays there off the balcony up here. The things that happened with the contractor that was starting it, walked up the project, and they had just gotten some of the foundations in, and then it was decided to move it the stairs to the other side of the building. And if you look at the handout with the 3 options, 1, 2, and 3, these were done by the architect, Daniel Lee's architect. He's a local architect in Lake Zurich. He developed these 3 options. If you look at option 1, that's the direct route, straight and runs out of the, there's currently a window where the top of the stairs you see a door. That window would be removed, the door would be put in all 3 options. But the first option shows just basically a short landing and then a stair down. Problem with that one is that stair crosses in front of the window at this lower level here, and that would require that window be replaced because it doesn't have the appropriate glass in it for safety, as a safety feature. So option number 2 to avoid that would be same thing. You step out the door and immediately turn to the west and then head down. The issue with that is there's a tree that's right in the way as you get to right at the bottom of the stair. So that tree would need to be removed. simple option from a foundation and a framing standpoint. Item number 3, excuse me, option number 3 is kind of a hybrid where you would walk out onto a landing, take 3 or 4 steps down to another landing, and then head out to the west, and then out towards the parking lot. There's still a little bit of a, there's some issues with the post being in front of the lower level window here, and there is still potential of some interference with that tree. From a cost standpoint, we're engineers and architects. Dan's an architect, I'm a structural engineer, and we don't normally price things, but from a comparative level, there wouldn't be a significant difference between the 3 options. However, the more complicated it is, the more turns, the more stairs, that kind of thing, that will drive up the cost. So the simple, the one where you come out onto the landing and turn immediately west, if that tree were removed, that's pretty simple from a framing standpoint and a foundation standpoint. We're able to utilize some of the existing building foundation to support a couple of the columns for the landing. So that's all about. And the package that has the architectural drawings, A series drawings, and S series drawings. There's a 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 3.1, and 4.0. That is the plans that were developed for permit and bid utilizing option number 2. So that's if you look at the S-series drawings are simply all the structural information, the sizes of framings, and the foundations related to that option. If you look at S2 through 4, 2 and 4, that is related to some of the facade work that we were requested to look at both the balconies, the one right out here and the one mirror image on the west side of the building. As you can see, if you look out there, there's some relatively significant deterioration to varying levels at both locations. So if you look at S4, that identifies what needs to be done. There's a north elevation, east and west, and then there's a key plan, a table that shows that all the activity that has to happen in each one of those locations. For example, you can try this on so you can see this. If you look at the north elevation, and on the west side of that, which would be the east side, that's right out here. If you're out here, and you'll see that there's an item that identified as number 1. It's crosshatched as the full height of the pier, and it identifies that it has to be removed and replaced. And one other thing that was discussed that's not part of this package, but when they remove that brick, we will be able to get and look at what the steel framing is inside supporting that balcony, and to determine if there's any additional work that may have to be addressed, if there's any deterioration in the supporting steel framing. I don't see anything that would indicate that, but of course you can't, until it gets opened up, then we'll have a better idea of what's happening inside. So that's that project. So I don't know if there's any questions or if I covered everything.
Yes. So we haven't yet created the RFP process because of the options with the staircase. Ideally, we would have a consensus in terms of what design we want to bid. I mean, in theory, I guess I could create an RFP requesting the general contractor bid out each option to see if there is a significant price difference. But I mean, for ease of the process, if we can select which layout of the staircase we prefer, that would just make everything easier for us. As Mr. Virgilio indicated, he didn't provide pricing because that's outside of his work. It would be up to the contractor.
Paul, just to be really clear on the three options, you said the second option is most simple from a foundation and a support perspective. Do you have a viewpoint on, I have mine just from looking at the drawings, but from an aesthetic standpoint, which looks and fits best with the building?
Do I have an opinion on that?
Yeah.
It's a stair coming out of the building, so I think they're pretty similar.
Okay.
So, either of the three options is, the functional, and from an aesthetic standpoint, I think there's not a whole lot of difference. The one that comes out and turns immediately to the west, I think, is visually probably less, because you don't see as much of it, and it doesn't cover as much of that window. It doesn't go in front of a window down below. So.
You're talking about option number 2.
Yes.
Option number 2, which is the one that was developed in the bid drawings. That is the new support columns are not in front of that window below. So that's it turns and it's less of a run of the stair because you've already dropped them down. And it doesn't cover as much of the building. It's all visible, but it's just a preference, whatever your preference is.
Option 2, the tree goes.
Yes.
Correct.
What material would be used for the stairs?
I'm sorry?
What material would be used for the stairs?
It would be the stair, the stringers, the slope elements are structural steel. It would be painted steel, and then the railing would be steel also, and the tread would be it's called the checkered plate. They're solid. They're not. It's not open. They're not open risers. The risers are solid. The vertical surfaces, and then you've probably seen the checkered plate configuration. A lot of stairs are like that have they kind of got raised areas of it that provide it's a non-skid
So
surface.
considering they would be used for safety, access, and an emergency, that checkered material would prevent slipping and stuff if they were wet
That's
or
the
if they were
idea.
icy
That's
or
the code.
just making sure.
Yep.
On plan number 3, you said the tree might still have some sort of interference. Would that just be we need to maybe trim a few branches?
Probably. Yeah. Okay. But again, that pushes out a column out in front of that window below, and there's still that you would have to trim it back. And it's a little more complex because you've got the first run and it turns down to the second run. So again, the cost is not significant, but they're most likely to be a little more expensive.
Back in the summer, when we first started talking about this option as opposed to that option, we received a rough estimate bid from someone who had worked with in the past about $70,000 for this, as opposed to the $200,000 that was originally proposed for it.
Yes, and I think it was difficult finding contractors at the time. I'm not sure. I mean, we're seeing things pretty steady. I don't know that there's going to be any more interest than there was,
Just to get, and we want to package it together so we get the best deal instead of doing one project and another project. By putting the two together, we think it would be most efficient use of taxpayers' dollars.
And more important, or equally as important, more enticing for potential bidders who would be the project.
So sorry, you said the 70,000 was a stair and the facade together?
No, just the stairs.
Just the stairs, and that was the stairs here as opposed to the other side?
These proposed stairs are $70,000.
No, the price we got was for the stairs in this configuration here.
Not the one that's off the balcony.
The one off the balcony.
That one was a different one.
Yeah, so it was $100,000. We contracted with Firehouse to do the original work, and that was $100,000.
And then there was another contractor that you had brought in that you emailed me. It was like 65.
Right.
Yeah, first year.
And that was the original stairs that couldn't be.
No, that was for
This.
a rough estimate of the potential for this.
So 65 to 100.
And the other issue with that, keep in mind, is that at that time, because of wanting to limit access to these balconies, there was a pretty significant fence that would have been erected around that stair. And it was a very busy configuration.
That was a big added to the
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah, and now with the configuration the way it is now,
Correct.
it's just a stair up to a door, so there's really no, any issue with kids getting up there and...
So we wanted to bring it to the board's attention and see if there was any questions you had for the structural engineer. And if there's no questions or concerns, we'd like to bring it to bid. Nothing will be spent without board approval, of course.
Option 2, bring bid. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'd like to bring. I just wanted to see if there's any discussion sessions.
I like option 2.
We could always replant another tree. I hate to see trees come down, but we can always replant another tree. I think it's the best use of money and everything else. So we would just like to, that's for an RFP. Like I said, nothing will be spent without board approval. Just wanted to bring it through you. Have Paul here in case there's any additional questions.
Do we know, like, just how much replanting the tree will cost? I like the idea, I just want to know.
Yeah, we don't have any pricing right now.
Okay, that's fair.
We're just going to get everything. We just kind of wanted to ask the board just to get their approval before we went to get the RFP, but we'll get some of the pricing for different sizes and such.
If anybody knows any general contractors, please let us know.
And we have the one too.
Yeah, I did talk to Tanya, and they're still interested in it.
Okay. Is there any other questions for Mr. Nugent?
I was just going to say, personally, I'm fine with either options 2 or 3. So.
Is everybody okay if we go with number 2? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. So we'll have more work on it. Yeah.
Not today.
Oh, not
It's not on the agenda. So we will move on to the updates until we have the Java people here to do the presentation. The Township Administrator Mercedes.
Yeah, so just the one quick big update I have is we just left a meeting regarding the 501c3. We have had major progress in getting that off the ground. We've involved our lawyers and Supervisor Willoy, Trustee Sam, as well as Susan, Sarah, and I have laid the groundwork, and we hope that by the end of the year we'll have everything wrapped up.
I have a quick report to the new. We have a lot of presentations today. Just want to let everyone know that I signed up the township to participate in the Lake Zurich Chamber of Commerce Expo on April 11th, which is Saturday, from 9 to 1 p.m. It will be held at the Cobia YMCA. So if you could please put that on your calendar, I'd love to see everyone there. We'll be having some more talks about that as well. And that's it. The rest I'll have the board meeting. Sure, April 11th. Brooke Lindenberger will be late to the meeting.
I do not, but I do think she may have a couple of words if she makes it in.
Sure.
Can we circle back?
Absolutely. Trustee Bowman?
I have a question in reference to the chamber. I polled the surrounding municipalities, and they don't pay for being a member of the chamber. Why do we?
Have you asked the chamber that? Because I used to work for the chamber, and every municipality was billed.
No, we sign up and we pay for things, and the municipalities in the community don't have to pay. I wonder why we had to pay.
If you want to, you can ask the chamber, but every municipality always paid when I was at the chamber. There was never any waiving of it. I'll be happy to bring it up with Claire, but I'm aware of any.
How much do we pay to be a member?
I don't have all the numbers in front of me right now. I think it's
Ted, do you know?
It's a couple hundred. I don't have the exact figure, but it's like 250. I think is the
annual fee.
yeah.
How much?
250. I think.
I don't know.
Don't quote me. I can get that.
I'm sure you could call them tomorrow and they'd be happy to give you the information.
Pardon me?
I'm sure you could call them tomorrow and they would be happy to
Yeah.
provide
I
you
just-
the information.
In the past, we've done things with the chamber. We've had booth space and stuff, and we never had to pay for it. And this year we have to pay for it. I was just wondering what changed.
Sure. When I worked at the chamber for 10 years, the township had always paid because I was in charge of billing. The township always had paid, and every village was paid. The only time there wasn't paid is if we used bus service and there's some sort of trade-off. So there, in my experience in working at the chamber for 10 years, it was always paid for by every municipality as well as township working at the chamber. So if that changed after I left, it's possible. We'll be happy to follow up with Claire. If you want to, just let us know.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Good question. If you want to follow up, or let me know if you want me to for you. Anything else? Okay. Trustee Glass?
Let's see, we had a successful health and wellness meeting where, well, I probably don't want to feel what Director Marks is going to say, but it went well, and we have some preliminary plans for the summer.
Thank you. Trustee Sam?
Okay, thank you. As far as Finance Committee, we're in the process now that we've decided to go out for audit proposals. We've selected 5 firms, and Ted has set that out. So we've received 2 responses today. Do you want to know the firms? Or yeah. So we got 5 of them coming. From that perspective, 2 things. You remember our audit report is done on a cash basis. We've had that discussion in the past, and then comparing it and contrasting with accrual basis. The consensus, I think, from prior meetings was we're going to stick with cash. But I want to bring it up here just to make sure if we're going off of a proposal, the 2 things. They can propose, and right now they're proposing a cash basis. I've talked to a couple of, well, at least one of the partners who tells me that over 90% of townships in the state of Illinois are on cash basis. So we would be, I don't want to say an anomaly, but to go out and do it on accrual is not the norm within the township arena. Accrual would be more money, too, so from that perspective. So right now we're requesting proposals based on cash basis. I will point out to you, too, I don't know if you all looked in your Perspective magazine, there's an article on townships and audit compliance. I'm pretty well read it, so if you want me to stop. No, but it was eye-opening to me that you read this, and the research within Illinois. First of all, a lot of audit firms aren't even interested in doing townships. They're too small, the fees aren't there, and it's really not drawing a lot of attention. And then what came out of here is that only 44% of Illinois local government required to submit audit reports have complied. And this is township. And of those 44%, 48% filed their reports late. Right? There's over 113 not timely at all. So we're at the forefront of doing everything right, timely, etc. So carrying on compliance with that and looking to say, do you want to stay with cash basis? If there's any commentary that says you want a proposal for approval or just leave it at cash.
Doug, remind me your perspective on why we decided to stay with cash, because I think you had started to look at going down the path of an accrual basis.
Right. I mean, you look at us, our revenue comes in, the tax levy is our biggest revenue item. It comes in very timely. And then our only receivables out there are our intergovernmental services. They pay usually within 30 days. So we're not carrying a lot of receivables. Inventory, I think the biggest thing we would have out there would be salt. and so, again, not that big of a number of prepaid items. And then our bills, we pay very timely. So it's, if we were holding off for 90 days to pay our bills, I'd say, yeah, people got to know what's out there, right? We have all these unpaid bills out there, et cetera. That's not our case. Debt, we have no debt. So it's not as if we have bonds payable or any bank loans to pay. So from a cash basis, we're pretty close, right, on what's happening. Is it in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles? No. Right? Cash basis is accrual basis is. So, but practically speaking, would our financial picture be way different, maybe from a disclosure of other assets out there that we don't have reported now in cash? Because the only assets we have in cash is really cash. So cash comes in, cash goes out. So, but.
And you said 90% of the townships in the state are using a cash basis.
But full disclosure, whatever, if we're going through this process, maybe you want to see what's the differential. If it's $1,000 more, would you want to go to accrual? If it's $10,000 more, then that could be a decision-making process. Illinois accepts cash basis. We meet all our legal requirements like we can.
Robert has a question.
What do you mean by $1,000 or $10,000 more?
There's more time to do accrual basis than do a cash basis audit. So P would be more with the audit firm to do it in accordance on accrual basis.
So it would be more expensive to switch to an accrual basis?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus staff time would be more because we'd have to switch
Yeah,
on.
there'd be a lot more stuff.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
okay. So, do we need further discussion or stick with cash? Does anybody have any?
I think with you being head of our finance committee and doing your audits that you do throughout the month, I feel comfortable staying with the cash basis. I appreciate all the work that you do and making sure we're all in line, so thank you for all you've done. And I think having you at the helm of finance, I'm comfortable staying with the cash basis.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you.
Likewise.
All right, and in that tone, right, so the next thing, as far as trustee responsibilities, what I've been doing is now, monthly, I begin making a selection of invoices to, quote, audits that were paid. Like before we were looking at our disbursements go out. So I've taken it a step further and say, I'll pick X amount of invoices, Mariana or Kathy will pull them for me. I come out and look at those and make sure that obviously agrees with what's being paid. And then what I've gone further in is internal control as to approval process and verification of that invoice. Verification meaning, are we checking the man? If I buy 10 items at $1,000 a piece, is someone checking to make sure that invoice says $10,000? Well, I'm finding that answer to be no. And I'm secondly, documentation of receipts, receiving items and or goods at least being documented. We have an approval stamp on there that basically approves the invoice. But my question is, how do I know what responsible or what employee got those goods? Where is that being documented? Or how do I know that service was received or performed? So I've suggested, I'm working with Ted and Lori to approve that stamp that we get these initials from the employees related that are actually verifying that, yeah, we got that good or service. And secondly, we're going to have to work within the accounting department exceptions to make sure we check extensions on.
And I sent an invoice back yesterday because it didn't say who received it. So.
Okay, very good.
It's already in place.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think those are things that come to light that we can just easily fix. I'm confident it's being done. It's just to document
Right.
it.
Exactly.
So, and really to look at it.
Thank you.
All right, that's it.
And I just would add, I really appreciate the time that you put forward in December when we looked at the last month's documents and what you looked at as far as the disbursements and what you were looking for. And so I'm planning to kind of step up and do some of that myself so that I feel comfortable signing off on it. But I do love the idea of coming in and checking the invoices on kind of a, occasional, just to check. So I'm happy to kind of jump in and do some of that as well. So the burden's not all on you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. That's it.
Trustee Dever?
We had a good community center meeting about a week or so ago, and I think probably the biggest report, and I'll let Susan cover it in the board meeting, but the biggest update really is that they are moving forward with the new database, and they're going to be using it for the enrollment for summer camp, and that is expected to go out on the 4th of February. So they've got some really great policies that they've thought through and put in place. So we'll do it with the summer camp, and then it'll move forward to the senior center and senior programming as well. So excited about that.
I'm going to have Assessor Barrington give her report, and then we're going to have the JAWA people here after that.
Great. I got our tentative factor from the county. It was 6.55%. That's before we've made any changes in the system, and it's also without them having all of the sales centers. They're expecting to have those done by the end of February. Those tentative factors come out every month or so until we close. We are, as I stated at the board meeting for those that were there, I am expecting to not make many changes this year with the quadrennial year being next year. I have found that there are many corrections that need to be made, and so we're focusing all of our time and energy and effort on that in order to have 2027 be a fresh start in the assessor's office with good, accurate data. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. I also wanted to address an issue that I heard maybe some people have about some educational opportunities in the assessor's office. Well, I want to just remind the board that I am in charge of my department and the educational opportunities that are afforded to employees. I did make the decision for 2 employees that were doing some classes. One, classes aren't needed for them to do the job, and they were also told to do it in the summer when their job requires them to be out in the field, which unfortunately where we live, summer months are the only months that's able to happen. So I did tell that employee that until they were sure that the assessor's office was a position that they wish to remain in long term, that I wasn't going to approve the classes because it wasn't a good use of taxpayer funds if their intention was to leave the assessor's office. That employee hasn't decided that the assessor's office is a place that they want to maintain working at, since their education is in teaching. I'm not sure that they really want to be a field inspector, so until that happens, there's no reason for us to put in the financial cost of getting them certified. The other employee I want to bring is my office manager, Amaya, and her continuing ed isn't due to start being done until 2027. So with the amount of cleanup work that's needed to be done in our office, I did ask that she wait to do those hours until starting in 2027. And then I'm completely on board with her doing them. She's a great employee. I love her. I'm so thankful to have her. And so I'm excited to take classes with her when we both have to start taking them in 2027. So again, not that anyone has any say over what I do with my employees. Just wanted to be transparent with her. So thank you for joining me in being my Google backup. And then knowing that my position on the board is non-voting, I just wanted to raise an issue for discussion and consideration, not as criticism for anybody, but just as a matter of good governance and clarity for the public and for our board. I believe the township would benefit from adopting a formal written policy that clearly outlines what activities, events, or uses are permitted on township property. Over the past couple weeks, I've gotten some emails from residents. There's some confusion. And right now, in the absence of a defined policy, it leaves room for confusion both for residents and, frankly, for us at the township. In particular, when activities or groups utilize township property, there can be a public perception of endorsement or affiliation, even when none exists between the activity and the township. I think it's important that we proactively address that risk by clearly and publicly stating when the township is not affiliated with, sponsoring, or endorsing any outside organization or group using township land. The Establishing a policy would promote consistency, transparency, and fairness. It would help the township from potential liability and ensure that township property is used in a manner that aligns with our responsibility to represent all of our residents, regardless of political or ideological viewpoints. So I respectfully suggest that this be explored further, either through legal review or policy development, so that the township can set clear expectations moving forward with use of township property in all aspects. Just think it would be good so that we all know how we can respond when something is.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we do have a park rental agreement, so we do already have something on the books in terms of preventing. We can't really dictate what public use of the public lands, that we can't stop or prevent.
Well, clearly I'm talking about stuff was going out for a protest individual, and I think if we had clear, definitive what's allowed and what's not, and it was documented, we could say, no, I'm sorry, you can't host a protest individual at the Peace Bowl.
But we can't.
But you can have, yes, we can. If the Peace Bowl is ours, we can. Why wouldn't we be able to?
It's because it's public land. It's public property. Because then, so that would open us up to allow, if we don't allow one group but allow another, now we're opening ourselves up to liability.
But if we have that policy, then it's clear that we're not allowing protests to happen at the Peace Bowl. That's clear.
Okay, good.
I think there's we have somebody from the village here that could maybe help facilitate this. There are ordinances in reference to protests and having requests to do marches, and a lot of it, even though it's township property, falls one of the districts of the local police departments in the village, and it would be a permit issue, I think. No permits required. It's just open.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ray Keller. I'm the village manager. So I'm going to play attorney here to the limits of my legal expertise. Just generally speaking, if you create a public forum, you can have content-neutral rules about assembly to a degree that you can't discriminate. If you allow one group, you have to allow others. In the same way as that if you don't allow any group to congregate there for some reason, you have greater discretion of chasing people away. But it's peaceful. You've had people there in the past. So I'd suggest that you might want to talk to your council about how you might want to handle a policy, if any, in the future.
And the number of people.
Well, it's a public space.
Yeah, exactly. And so we did have, before the peaceful incident happened, we did get on the phone with our operators, and we are following their advice.
We didn't have any issues.
Thankfully it was peaceful, but
I know. I understand your point.
I just feel like if we have a written policy and again, I think everyone should be allowed to gather there. I just think there should be some rules and some guidelines that have to be followed when it's happening because God forbid something did turn bad there and the historical building got damaged or somebody got hurt in the road because there was too many people or,
If we run this by legal?
That's fine. Okay. We spoke to our lawyers prior to the event happening, and everything was run through them.
And with our meeting agreement policy, they helped us write it. So, and it includes interior, exterior.
Yeah, we have one for the buildings and we have one for our parks.
Can you direct us to where that would be so that, on the weekend we're not getting phone calls and messages that night?
Sure, we'll put it in the meeting minutes.
Yeah, it's on our website. We'll send you the
Yeah,
the website
that
is
would
the
be
easiest to
helpful.
navigate.
And just to go back to the peaceful, one that was originally proposed, there were a lot of guidelines that were implemented and asked for, along with funds that they were supposed to keep in a backup fund for maintenance and everything else. As the Peace Pole organization met all of their obligations when that was installed, where does that stand?
There was never any written agreements with the people who organized the fundraiser in Peaceful and the township.
That's correct. Yeah, we don't have any.
There's nothing documented.
There's no formal documentation indicating that.
Didn't they they dedicate it back to the
We,
township?
I would disagree. I strongly suggest that we did tell them that they had to have maintenance funds and stuff, and accounts. There would accrue some funds, to have funds to take care of this in the future. And you're saying there's not...
There's no documentation.
Well, beyond that, yeah, correct.
There's no documentation.
Well, and if they dedicated it back to the township, why would they have a maintenance fund?
They didn't dedicate it to the township.
So is it,
It's on our property, but
There's no documentation right now. We're working on it. This is an item we're continually working on.
so the Peace Bowl itself is private property on public land?
it's on township property.
No. So the Peace Bowl is also public property?
Should
Pardon
be
me?
20 feet that way.
So the Peace Bowl is also public property?
There's no documentation currently. We're working on it, and we'll have more information for you as soon as we get it. It's something we're working on. Peaceful is on our property.
Okay.
That is definitive, and we have proof of it. Everything else, we understand there's problems, and we're working on that as well. We have exterior meeting agreements, like football and soccer, and if anybody wants to meet, that's on our website. We'll put it in the meeting notes so everyone can take a look at it. We are working on other things that I just can't disclose at this time.
Understood.
But it is being worked on.
Thank you.
Just so you know, it is being worked on. I just don't have all the information, and I don't want to present anything that's not 100% checked out.
I appreciate that.
I am working on it.
Thank you, Denise.
Okay, anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to go back to number 5, discussion with Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency regarding Lake Surf Water Project. Thanks for coming, gentlemen. Sorry about the confusion of the time. If you wouldn't mind coming up to our podium here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Susi. I'm the Executive Director at the Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency. And I'm here today with the rest of our Lake Zurich expansion team. And we're going to tell you a little bit about, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the water agency, since the vast majority of the township is going to be receiving our water. And also then tell you about the specific tasks that we have today. So we appreciate the opportunity to discuss this important project with you this afternoon. A project that's going to provide drinking water to residents for generations to come. I'm going to give about less than 5-minute background, and then our engineering team is going to come up here and discuss the specifics of the pipeline route. So after inviting communities from all over Lake County in his quest for Lake Michigan water, late Libertyville Mayor Paul Neal headed the formation of CLC Jawa over a 10-year period to construct one of the largest public works projects in county history. Through state legislation, 8 communities and the county joined together to pool resources to do something better and more efficiently than they could have done alone. In 1992, they built the 3rd largest utility in the state of Illinois to wholesale water to themselves. Fast forward to 2012, when additional communities sought to join us and receive their Lake Michigan water allocations from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and they approached us in order to most cost-effectively obtain Lake Michigan water for themselves. And then in 2018, we began supplying them water. Our member communities now make up 1/3 of Lake County's population. That brings us to today. The deep groundwater in much of this region contains compounds that must be removed. In Lake Zurich, this is done with advanced treatment ion exchange plants. This approach has worked well to date, but produces a concentrated waste stream that Lake County will no longer be able to process. After obtaining their Lake Michigan water allocation from the DNR and working through their options in public meetings and plant tours over the past several years, the Lake Zurich Board elected to switch to Lake Michigan water supplied by CLC Java. We offer proximity, a state-of-the-art treatment process using ozone oxidation, carbon filtration, and UV disinfection, and a permanent seat on our board of directors. In 2024, Lake Zurich Mayor Tom Poynton became the 14th member of my board. That's now composed of 13 mayors and 1 county board representative. Lake Zurich's membership will add 3.6 million gallons of water demand per day to our maximum of 36. My board has also approved agreements to reserve 600,000 gallons of water per day for the village of Hawthorne Woods, and about the same volume for the subdivisions of North Lake, Hawthorne Woods, Glenshire, and Countryside Lake. When we expanded our system in 2018, we nearly doubled our pipeline length to 55 miles. This pipeline lies in private easements and wherever possible in state, county, village, and township rights of way. We have been tasked by the village and our board to find the most cost-effective and hydraulically efficient path along the adopted general route. We are now in the route refinement stage. During the refinement, we consider several factors, including utility conflicts, wetlands, geotechnical borings, soils, trees, and even historical artifacts. But perhaps most important is our face-to-face outreach with parcel owners through open houses, subdivision meetings, public hearings, municipal stakeholders, and departments of transportation. In this particular case, meeting with residents along Diamond Lake Road and with LCDOT, who is responsible for Diamond Lake Road, have all informed the proposed route refinement we present for your consideration today. We want to work with you to obtain authorization to locate our pipeline within the township right-of-way where possible, and in a way that minimizes significant impacts to residents' properties in this area of the township. So with that, I'll let you take over. So Amru Atasti is our lead engineer on this project and was also for our other expansions over the last few years. Amru,
thank you, Bill. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us some of your time today. So we prepared a handout. Fast forward to page number 5. It shows the overall route to get water from the agency system to the village of Lake Zurich. It's approximately a 6.7-mile pipeline. The segment that Bill is referring to on Diamond Lake Road is shown on the next page, page 6 of the handout. This is, as part of the outreach, we spoke to the residents. We held a number of open house meetings to get their input. This is in addition to the field investigations, the hydraulic analysis that we've done. And then just hearing the impact, the feedback from the residents, talking to Lake County DOT, and also doing our own survey on Diamond Lake Road, we identified a number of challenges and concerns, which is why we're seeking your approval today to let us use Eagle Drive, which is substantially less traffic impact on the residents that travel Diamond Lake, substantially less utilities. It's a wider right-of-way, and we're able to complete that construction in a much more expedited, less impactful way to the residents of Eagle Township. On that slide, we show the comparison between Diamond Lake Road versus Eagle Drive, both in terms of the impact to the residents as well as the duration of construction. Just a big difference, and that's why we're seeking your approval to utilize Eagle Drive. So we're happy to take any questions you have. This is something that this request wasn't taken lightly. Just based on the feedback, this is days of investigations out in the field. As Bill mentioned, survey, tree survey, topographic survey, utility survey, as well as geotechnical investigations. And then I know some of the questions that may be on your mind is, what is the impact to the residents on Eagle Drive if we go through this construction? So on the next slide, we do list some bullets of what you can expect during construction. Obviously, if we are so fortunate to get your approval, we will be working with the the township to set up a town hall meeting with the residents of the township on Eagle Drive to inform them of the construction. We'll keep them notified of the schedule. We'll abide by any ordinances you have in place in terms of construction hours, construction equipment. We obviously, anything that we impact, it's going to be restored to original conditions or better. As Bill mentioned, the existing water transmission system for the agency, they have worked very well across the entire county as even in the last 10, 15 years, we've expanded into Wakanda, Volo, Lindenhurst, and Mozilla to restore any road that we impact during construction. So that's something that we take very seriously. If there are any residents' concerns or questions, we will respond to those in an expedited manner. And then, like I said, we'll continue to update the public. We anticipate once the contractor is mobilized, our effort, obviously, our goal is to get the work done as quickly as possible, because that means we're getting this done faster and cheaper. But right now we're estimating about 3 to 4 months. If you have any specific constraints, certain days or certain hours that we need to work around, we're happy to include those constraints in the document. So with that, we're happy to take any questions or any concerns. Yes.
So when we met before, we just so the board knows, Ted, myself, and Mike met with Jawa before just to kind of get a lay of the land and what was going on. We mentioned that summer months would be better. This is going over a part of Mundelein that is Gila Township, and the roads here were just redone 2 years ago. So it's inconveniencing this area after they were inconvenienced 2 years ago, and they're not going to be getting any of the benefits from it. We understand it's for the greater good for Lake Zurich. I'm a Lake Zurich resident myself. I support this project. We just wanted to make sure it made sense to all of Gila Township, because we represent all of Gila Township and not just Lake Zurich. Some of the things that we had asked for, speaking to different people, is to make sure that there was a benefit to the residents who were living in that area. So it's not just a give. Is considering putting in hydrants, because there currently are no hydrants in this area. So any fires for this area would have to be, the water has to be brought in on trucks. There is some stormwater issues that could use assistance. There is culverts that can be filled with some of the tear-up that will be done. And I can't read my writing on the last one. You don't know what that was.
Stormwater pipe.
So those were, and I know we had spoken, Ted had called you, I believe, to let you know that those were some of the asks that we would have. Mike, did you think of the other one?
I think you were talking about something with the ponds.
No.
No.
Ability to tie in the future. Not with this one, but ability in the future to tie in these. So just to make sure that we are protecting our residents of Gila Township and that it is, makes sense for everyone, those are some of the things that we were interested in.
Yeah, I believe Ted spoke to Bill. So you're absolutely correct. The summer months for construction, accommodating that is not going to be a problem, so we can include that. You mentioned the concern with the roads. Very valid point. If you resurfaced a road in the last 2 years, certainly whatever we do is going to restore it to, however, the condition of the road or even better. So any damage we cause to the road is going to be resurfaced. So those concerns are going to be addressed with no issues. I cannot speak to the ability to tie into the agency system. That's obviously for the agency to decide. Our job with the engineering firm that we've been hired by the village and the Central Lake County Joint Action Water Agency, from an engineering and technical perspective, obviously it's up to the village and the agency to accommodate those hydrants. But since the water transmission main is trying to do that corridor, from an engineering perspective, it's feasible. But I can't speak to obviously there's cost. And also, there's also a cost that the agency and the village are paying for in restoring the road. So that's already kind of a cost that's built in. As far as the stormwater system, it just purely from a engineering perspective. perspective, we have to be a little careful not to, what might appear to be a localized drainage issue, taking the stormwater piping it somewhere else. It might cause unintended consequences. So, drainage and stormwater is something that is more regional than just a localized. So it's not necessarily just connecting a ditch from an area, closing a ditch and using a storm pipe to connect the drainage. So that's something that would be a little more involved. But I think I'll kind of defer to on the other items. It comes down to but certainly we want to work with you. We're happy to accommodate as many of those items. Certainly, like I said, the constraints with the summer months, that's not going to be a problem. Resurfacing the road, we obviously want to leave it in a better condition than when we came in. The pipeline is there, so it would seem the hydrants from a technical perspective, it would be feasible, but I can't speak about the cost. The storm sewer is just more of a, it's got to be looked at on a regional perspective, not just one street.
So the plan at this point does not include fire hydrants on that line?
The agency uses blow-offs to flush the line, but this is not a distribution main. So it's not designed to provide necessarily, fire flow across the entire route. But there are blow-offs that could potentially be used. But the agency, because it's a wholesale system, just because there's a water transmission main, it's not necessarily providing fire flow across the entire service area. That's up to kind of each municipality. But I'll let them kind of explain a little more about the blow-off.
Do you want to?
In reference to stormwater, there's no an elevation of this pipeline going in, and there's no major change in elevation on the construction site that would hinder the flow of water or the stormwater conditions.
Our pipe is generally 6 to 8 feet deep.
Yeah.
It depends on certain areas, but yeah, we should not, during construction, we should not be altering the drainage pattern.
So you're saying there won't be any major elevation changes?
Correct. No.
There will be none. The Stormwater Management Commission has to review everything we do.
Right.
And stormwater is obviously a big issue in the county, so.
It is in this area. I mean, it's always been an issue. Any major elevations in construction would hinder the flow of water in that area.
So, Jeff, the assistant superintendent had brought up the stormwater and that possibly.
I know he's very aware of it.
Yeah, the stormwater issue, and stormwater is obviously, we all live in Lake County. I mean, it's
I get it, but I'm just saying that is the background of it. Jeff is the one who brought that.
So the issue with stormwater, as Amr mentioned, is this isn't like, to give you an example, when we're going to Wakanda, we're going through township there, and there was just like a ditch that had been filled in over the time, and yeah, we're tearing up the whole ground, so it's no big deal to put that ditch back the way it was. That's no problem. That's easy. But when you're talking about moving water through a neighborhood, it becomes a regional issue. It's Stormwater Management Commission, and it's really outside the scope of this project. We don't want responsibility for how that impacts areas that are outside of our, where we're constructing. So that's a huge ask. Seems like it's beyond the scope of what we'd be able to do. Just speaking candidly, that's what we're here to
Can
do.
I just clarify something?
Yes.
So what you're saying is if something you do affects drainage or backups in that neighborhood, you're not going to take responsibility?
No, what I'm saying is we will not impact the drainage in the neighborhood. And if we did because we constructed something incorrectly, we absolutely will take responsibility. But the plans are so specific as to the elevation of the soil everywhere, the content of the soil. We actually measure what the soil is like. If there's contamination, we remove it, we put in a clean backfill. I mean, it's so detailed that we will take responsibility for anything that wasn't the way it was when it started. Absolutely.
And did you say you had meetings with these residents that?
We've had 2 open house, we've had multiple meetings. Whether these residents attended or not might be a different question, but we also have an easement person, and she's met with a lot of the residents on Diamond Lake Road. I'm not sure, in all fairness, that the people in this neighborhood know about it, because we're just coming to you to ask, whether we could pursue this route. And if we did, we would have a meeting with those people.
They need the permission before they can talk to the residents.
Is that something that we would look into, asking the residents or doing like an open house for them?
They do the open house. We have to give permission.
Yeah.
We have to give permission to have the open house?
Correct.
Well,
We can do that before we give permission to say, yep, sure, go ahead, make your plans to move forward with that. Yes?
so need to get permission. Right now, they're not going to go to these residents and ask them to do this unless they know we're on board. So,
Right,
yeah, so...
So we would need to sign off on the work, and then basically it'd be an open house with the residents to say, this decision's already been made,
well,
here's what's going to happen.
Go ahead.
we're not agreeing to anything today. We're just saying, do we... If everything aligns correctly, we can see this happen. Then they're going to go and speak to the residents, and then we'll go from there. So, again, they're not going to go to them and then have us pull up, say, well, we're not interested in this anyway.
But if we start getting a lot of pushback from the residents in that area, are we going to allow them to have input on whether or not we allow this, or is it kind of like we're not taking into consideration what we say? Because I can tell you from a property valuation, I hear a lot of complaints from that neighborhood about drainage issues already, about water problems. And I just fear that that's going to now give them a reason to...
Part of let me just throw a couple things off the discussion. So part of the issue is the folks in the township on Diamond Lake Road really don't like what we have to do there. And the reason is because Lake County Department of Transportation owns Diamond Lake Road, and they want us to locate our pipe not only right on the edge of the pavement now, but on the edge of where the pavement may be in the future, which puts us very much in the backyards of people. And there's ponds over there. There's lots of plantings. We're really in their yard. So one option is to go down Diamond Lake Road, and those residents are currently not very happy about it. The other option is Eagle Drive. That's in a right-of-way. We're trying wherever we can in this project to stay out of people's private property, and that's why we like to put things in right-of-way. So I think what we would be looking for, I know this is like a chicken or egg question, what we would hope to do before we have a public meeting is to have a good faith, I don't know how that's determined, but a good faith commitment from you that, yeah, we think you can do this, but you need to go talk to our residents first and make them aware of it. I can tell you right now, they're not going to be happy about it. So, we'll tell them what we're doing, we'll explain we've done this before, we're going to return everything to like or better condition. But in general, why would anyone want to do it? So that's why we're talking about we would put in these hydrants, which are not planned for that area because we don't have hydrants. We have flow-offs that provide water. That's a real benefit. It may even, I don't know if that's home insurance or something, but that's a real benefit. We're going to put the road back to the way it was. So these are, benefits for them, but obviously we're going down the road. It's going to be a mess for 3 or 4 months. And
Trustee Bowman, did you have comments?
In reference to the work schedule, this is a Monday through Friday program. Donna doesn't take them.
With the hours that,
Yeah, you tell us, 7:30 to 3:30, 7:30 to 4:30.
Normal work hours.
We'll work. Anything we deviate from those, we'll have to seek permission, but, the work schedule is dictated in the contract documents when it looks like.
And then on the weekends when you're done, is the road usable then?
At the end of each day, the contractor, if they open a trench, they're going to plate it. It's got to be safe to drive. It's got to be safe to maneuver at the end of each day. So we're not going to leave any open trenches, make anything unsafe. But I also want to clarify something, and I apologize. Maybe I confused. There will be no drainage problems caused by this pipeline. I think the reference earlier about addressing these are pre-existing conditions. But I just want to clarify, this is a drinking water pipeline. It's not going to, so I just wanted to clarify that. The other thing is, the resident feedback that we've gotten on Diamond Lake Road, those are homes that they're basically, as Bill mentioned, we're being forced, based on the LCW County DOT's project, to put the pipeline in easements in their backyard. The feedback came is like, hey, we do not want this pipeline here. These residents, on the other side, they're on Arrowhead, which is part of the Gila Township. So that's why we reached out to Gila Township to say, the residents, do not want this pipeline on Diamond Lake Road. Can we consider another option? If we're so fortunate to get your approval today, we'll obviously follow your direction to talk to the residents, address their concerns. The answer is obviously then, the pipeline, the village of Lake Zurich needs water our goal is by the end of 2028. We want to get this pipeline constructed sometime in late 2026 through 2027. And so those are the two, there's really no other options. The village and the agency already paid money for a pump station on Route 83. We got to get the water from that point to the village of Lake Zurich. It's either Diamond Lake Road or Eagle Drive. We're out of other options. It's extremely clear. Yeah.
So in the initial evaluation, I'm sure you looked at it, but a straight run of pipe, less one big 90 and a long radius, that's take the energy costs over a 10-year period was evaluated, and additional friction losses for this amount of water. It's got to be huge. Pardon me?
Speaking his language.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid question, but you're absolutely right. Anything we can cut out of the pipeline, it's less construction costs, less energy costs, all the benefits. What we look at is what's the easiest way to go through these roads without impacting a lot of residents. So on these projects, we usually look at major roads that can be used without impacting the residents. That's why initially Diamond Lake was considered. But anytime we can avoid a corridor and get permission from a property owner or a township, that's a benefit. So in this case, there is going to be a benefit to be able to go through Gila Township, Eagle Drive, instead of going through a more impactful road on Diamond Lake Road.
So Eagle Drive is unincorporated Lake County? Or what community is it going to?
Unincorporated Lake County.
It's the very last subdivision on Indian Creek and Diamond Lake Road. That's in.
So that's on Grove, right?
No,
Or Hudson Woods?
unincorporated line. It's unincorporated line.
Unincorporated Mondo Line. Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're here today. You have jurisdiction over that road. Yeah.
Okay.
And to be clear, Lori and Ted, when you guys met initially, you asked for, it sounds like 5 things. Hydrants, see if there was something that could be done to address the stormwater issues, culvert spills, the ability to tie in to the future, and then summer months. And right now, it sounds like hydrants are a yes, and summer months are a yes, but not, anything about tying into the future, culvert spills, and stormwater issues addressed is still not on the table. Not something you feel.
We did, if I could just address that first, please. We didn't ask that at our first meeting. We met with them and we came up with those, and so we pre-warned them that was what we were going to be talking about today.
Okay.
So let's address some of those.
Okay.
So the other thing, I don't know if you mentioned is resurfacing the road. In terms of stormwater, if it's minor things, like I think one of the things you mentioned is there's a couple of minor ditches. If we can do that, please believe me, we're moving a lot of soil. It's not a big deal. If we can do that and stormwater, and it's not like having to get permits and it's not affecting regional drainage, then of course we'll do it. If it's going to, honestly, we really would rather not do that. With regards to a tie-in for the future, so let me talk about that a little bit because there's implications. Okay, so first of all, the Central Lake County Water Agency has 14 members. As I said, this is like Gurnee, Lake Zurich, Wakanda. So we're really not set up to provide water to however many homes are in that community. The way that our water gets to very small community subdivisions is through Lake County. So it would have to be some sort of thing like that, which I don't know how that would occur. And also, we don't have any more water to give. Through negotiating with Hawthorne Woods and the county, we are now, all of our extra capacity is open flow, so we don't have additional water. So how would we solve this riddle of a tie-in for the future? So one option, I'm just being completely candid and open. So one option is to put in what's called a T-in valve. And a T-in valve is literally, we put in physical infrastructure, there's a valve, and there's a blank. And someday, I don't know how this would occur, but someday, literally the physical infrastructure would be there to provide water to something. The challenge with that is, where would we put it? Where is the planned pump station going to be? Et cetera. So in that case, we're spending money, a significant amount of money to put in something that may never be used. Maybe a way around that is that we have some sort of written agreement. We don't actually put in the physical infrastructure, but just some sort of written agreement that we have to maintain records on that says, within the next whatever time range, 20 years, if the water is available, then perhaps we would offer the opportunity to the township and check in and say, do you want to take this water? And can you take this water? And you probably say, no, we're in no position to do that. But like a right of first refusal, there might be something we can do to work around that ask so that at least we can fill that. So I guess what I'm saying is, of the list you just rattled off, it's the stormwater part that we really have an issue with.
So culverts and hydrants are a yes.
The hydrants we can do, yes.
Okay.
And by the way, that's not free. The residents are getting something for that. The road resurfacing is almost 7 figures. That's a lot of money. Right. We're trying to not inconvenience residents. That's a very important part of CLC Jawa, as we try to use rights away where we can. Quite honestly, it's more convenient for my guys maintaining it to not be in someone's backyard and having to have access to it. Yes, sir.
Existing drain, I'm sorry.
He was,
So on the tie-in question, you're talking about like having this frame agreement but no actual physical infrastructure for it. And so I'm a little confused about what the use of that would be, because like if we don't actually have the physical infrastructure, the valves and stuff there to let them tie in, the agreement saying that they might be able to in the future doesn't really amount to much, because if they would, then you'd have to tear it all up again to put in the new infrastructure.
Yeah, so what we would do is and I am not good on the spot, so please take this with a grain of salt because it'll be subject to further, but I'm imagining at this moment it would be something like this, where we would say for the next X amount of years, we agree that we would install a T-in valve should the township want to provide water to this community. By the way, I don't know how you're going to do that. That's why I don't think it's worth us investing in the T-in valve. But we would have this agreement so that if something happened and we could, then we have this agreement that we would do that. Now, you're going to have to build a pump station, piping, put in all piping in the neighborhood. There's none, or I don't know that to be true. But, you'd have to put in the infrastructure to accept this water, and you'd have to find someone to receive the water on a wholesale basis, because we don't provide residential water. So you're right, it's a
big expense.
It's a big expense, and to me, it's not realistic to seem blunt with you, but if you felt you needed to have the potential for a tie-in in the future, I think we could work something so that there is a legitimate, chance that should you come up with the funds and the community wants to spend the money to join the agency, then, it would be there.
Is this providing the tie-in for the 600,000, whatever you said, for Hawthorne Woods, too?
It is. So with Hawthorne Woods, again, I'm just a candid person, so sat down with the mayor, said we want to be in a right-of-way. We want to be in Indian Creek Road. How do we get Indian Creek Road? Through a lengthy negotiation process. We had 600,000 gallons of water left to sell. So he said 600,000 gallons of water, and you got a deal. And what that includes is a T-in valve for them to connect to. So we're giving them a T-in valve. And we have an agreement with an expiration date on it. If they don't take water by X date, then they lose their place in line. I guess not that there's a...
But that doesn't benefit the whole village. That's right in that area for those residents of Hawthorne Woods?
I don't know that. The negotiation with the mayor was he said, I'll take the 600,000 gallons of the rest of it.
I think it said Glenshire in the...
So that's different. The subdivisions of Glenshire, Countryside, Lake Annette, those are Lake County subdivisions provided by Lake County Public Works. And Lake County Public Works is planning, and they have it on their capital improvement plan, to provide those subdivisions with Lake Michigan water off this pipe. And they, too, have a T-in valve that will provide that, because we already know they're going to do it. They also are on our board.
So that would eliminate Apple. Sorry, that was...
Okay, I'll go first. And in each of those cases, those individual communities would also need to construct those pump stations if they wanted to make use of those valves?
Correct. Yeah, we just provide the T-in valve, and the rest is yeah.
Where would the equipment be stored after work hours? You're going to have lots that you're going to approve, or where's the equipment going to be?
I know that's something that was mentioned at the last meeting. Certainly, if you have concerns about specific equipment, backhoes, loaders, major trucks, we can tell the contractor that, after hours, that they'll have to be parked somewhere else. That's a constraint we can't have. If that's a concern, if you could...
When you start installing the pipe, there's a lot of additional equipment that normally is stored on a lot off.
So they're responsible for traffic control. We would need...
So it won't be in the residence property?
No, anything that they do in residence property, they have to get resident permission. We would not use it without temporary construction. But we don't anticipate that at this point that we need any easements from residents on the traffic.
And the digging and installation of this pipe, if you run across a drain tile, that would be replaced?
Yes, we put it on the construction conditions on the contractor that anything that they damage, road, any underground piping, anything that would have to be repaired that the contractor is expecting. We're going to have a resident engineer on site. We're not letting the contractor kind of do whatever they want. And that person will be there if there's a resident concern or question, or anybody from the township will be there to address those during construction.
Any other questions? Mike, do you have any comments?
No, I think we covered it all.
Next
question?
One last thing, just some backstory on this. So you're saying that the reason for this whole construction project is that Lake County is no longer able to treat the toxic byproducts that come from their current water setup?
I didn't say the word toxic byproducts. So they have to remove compounds from the water, which includes radium.
Okay.
And they so successfully remove radium that if you think about, they remove it from the drinking water, that when they remove it, they then have to dispose of it. And you're concentrating that waste stream.
Right.
It goes into the sanitary sewer, and then the wastewater plant has to treat it and otherwise dispose of it.
Right.
And because of US EPA regulations, the county is going to be no longer able to do that.
Okay, so the regulations changed in that.
The regulations are tighter, yes. So, yeah, our ion exchange plants have worked great. It was a great investment. They've worked great. And they spent years and years. We've been talking about this for a long time, about how to best solve this problem. They've conducted studies, engineering studies. They've been at a lot of public meetings, and they were doing that a lot before meetings. It's all on their website. All of the engineering studies, incredibly transparent, shows exactly how they've arrived at this point. So this is where we are today. They decided to join the agency, CLC Java, and we're going to deliver water by December 20th.
And the Lake Zurich Board and Mayor Portman has worked diligently to make sure that we have safe drinking water to do this too. So, sir, did you have?
Yeah, is this pipe, is it planning on being, is this pipe planning on going down the road or on the side of the road? Legal.
I think it would, Matt, you want to maybe, we're still collecting the survey data. Obviously, if we get your permission, we'll have to look at the survey data from Matt. You want to?
Yeah, 100%.
How we've looked at so far?
We did just mobilize surveyors recently. As this was not part of the original route, we since have gone out there just to get a lay of the land, but we haven't had that data come back yet to know exactly, what utilities might be out there, what the drainage situation looks like. The best spot to place the pipeline, would imagine it would be on one side of the road.
Directly down the road.
Correct, in the pavement.
And we prefer to be on the side for access.
Okay, any other questions or?
I'd just like to make one statement. I'm a resident of this subdivision, and of the three choices, this by far makes the most sense because it's going to not conflict with a bunch of residents. It's just going to be on right away already. It's not taking right away property people's right away at all, because all that does is drain their value of land.
Thank you. We're trying to make it as painless as possible and what's best for the residents.
This makes the absolute most sense to me.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments? Thank you for coming today and answering the questions and all your work on this. Thank you, Mayor Poynton, for coming today as well.
So next steps, we'd like to further engage the board, and then I think once the decision is made, I'll let the local travel.
And that decision will be during the board meeting.
Correct. February board meeting. So, I just wanted to bring attention. You have an opportunity for everyone to ask questions. Thank you for making two presentations to us and hearing what the service residents have. So thank you. And you don't have to stay. You're welcome to stay. But you don't have to stay.
Ray, you go.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. So back to regular programming. We're going to go back to 7C, which is Kirk Linton.
I apologize for my delay. I do not have anything hugely significant. I did send an email to all members of the board. It is not a thing that we have to take care of today, but I do encourage you to look at that email about executive session minutes and the attorney's recommendation. If you would like to see the minutes that he references, they are in the other thing I wanted to mention, and this is kind of circulating circles, is that there is an advocacy group that is sending FOIA requests to not through the main FOIA avenues. So this person is an attorney. He is sending FOIA requests to trustees, to other members of the organization. If those requests are not filled within 5 days, or if they were filled in a way that he deems inappropriate or whatever, he is not going to the PAC. He is skipping and suing straight, which is legally allowed, going to the courts immediately and suing, and then offering the municipality the opportunity to basically pay him a bunch of money to drop the lawsuit. So all you have to do is just make sure you're checking your emails, and if you do get a errant FOIA request, send it to me. I will handle it. If we respond in a timely fashion and we respond with what he wants, there's nothing he can.
To be clear, you said this is an advocacy group, and they've been doing this with ELA or with other
They have been
townships
doing
in
this
your-
with
All over the
all
area.
kinds of municipalities. They've been doing it with fire districts, townships, a variety of different
So
municipalities.
nothing from ELA yet?
No,
but
certainly
we
not.
should be expecting it.
It may be coming, you may never see it,
Okay.
but just regularly check your email,
Thank
and
you.
if you do receive something, send it right to me, and I'll take care of it.
So our spam or quarantine, it's not going to stop that from coming to us?
It shouldn't. I mean, he's an attorney. He's sending these, he knows the law, he knows what he can do, and he's making a good amount of money off of it. So,
Can he send them to anybody, or does it
Yeah.
have to be directed
Nope.
towards?
No.
you can send them to anybody.
You can submit FOIA in any, we do require any written format, but it can be.
But he can send it to any
you can
staff
send it to
member?
any-
Yep.
We just don't accept verbal, so he can't come in here and just ask for them, but.
Yeah,
we
it
just-
could go to you, it could go to anybody.
Should
Do
there
we
be
have
a
a
notice of
procedure to
different
answer?
Oh, no, I mean, I'm cool with forwarding it on, but like,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It's a sneaky little.
That you can send it to just any employee, just whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
So even just like our lower level staffing positions, like just some
As
random.
long as it's written in, it's a written request submitted, yep.
And he doesn't necessarily need to identify them as FOIA requests.
No, he will.
Oh, he
And what he's mostly requesting is legal payment, not legal payments. He wants our bills that we pay to our lawyers. And that's what he has been consistently requesting.
It's just
He
a
may
legal.
change it. Yeah, it's just a convenient thing. Everybody has legal
So they have
counsel that we
individual
pay for.
people.
It's fine.
To be clear, are we sending an email out to all staff members or making sure
This
department
is
heads
something
are
that
telling them?
just
Okay.
literally came across
Okay.
my desk. So I
That would be my recommendation.
Going to bring it up at the top. Yeah, I will. I
Got
just
that.
literally, it just made its way to me.
Thank
So
you.
I figured I'd bring it up tonight. I will follow up with an email collectively.
Do you want it to the department heads to send that out?
That would be great. But I'll send it to the department heads and then just, it may not happen, and we may not get it at all. It may come to me, great. But just in case, because he has found a loophole and he is essentially saying, well, I'll drop the lawsuit if you pay me a bunch of money. And I don't want to do that. Nope, that was it for me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for the update. 7G is Health and Wellness, Director Mark.
I'm going to keep this short. Last Thursday, we had a meeting, and the highlights from that basically are we are going back and looking into the mobile health and dental clinics. There's been an increase in, people asking for assistance with housing instability and rates. So we're looking at that. And we are also, looking at a couple other programs that we can run into the summer. And our next meeting is going to be February 20th at 10 o'clock. I think our meeting minutes will be, at the next board meeting. If anybody has any questions or wants to chit chat, I'm here.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, keeping this going, 7H, Highway and Parks, please.
I just got a couple things. We received a quote for the plow for truck 4 from Herman Brothers for $7,402. I will have that.
Can you say the number again? Sorry.
$7,402.80. I will have that in the board report for the board meeting for approval. We spoke with Brad Rupert. Doug, you're going to like this one. From July. And he told us that as long as the board approves truck 4 going to auction, we don't have to wait and put it as surplus for the annual town meeting. Isn't that contradictory what they said?
Yes, 100%. Yep. You're right. Mike, you're right.
He said that as long as the value doesn't exceed $30,000, we can do that.
Did you get that in writing?
Yeah, I was just going to say, get that in writing.
Because you could ask the township gurus questions and ask them the next day and you'll get a different answer.
It was just a conversation over the phone.
Yeah,
We can give them a call back and see if we can get it.
Send them an email, ask them to put it in.
It's like your conversations with them. You know that every time you ask them a question, the answer's different.
Some of the other stuff is just minor. I do get something for you business when we get there. Unless you want to talk about it now, it's
It's in the minutes from our meeting about what's going on, and otherwise too. I mean, trucks and new equipment, all that stuff.
Truck 4, we're going to pick up in the next couple of days. We're trying to schedule, going to get decals and radios and everything else put up, so we'll leave it down there since we don't really have a place to put it. We lost water in our main building yesterday, and we called the Snelton Well drilling company, who has been working on that well since 1999. And our control button keeps on tripping. And he tested it. It's running hot. It's running 37.5 amps. I know this isn't going to mean anything to anybody. It didn't mean anything to me. It's supposed to be averaging 27.5 amps, which means it's running hot. It's working too hard to try to get the pump to work. He tested the water coming out with one garden hose and one sink. We're getting about 10 gallons per minute, and it's supposed to be getting about 50 gallons per minute.
So we need a new pump.
So we need a new pump and equipment to restore the gallon per minute flow, so it doesn't reset the trip switch from getting hot.
And this has nothing to do with the weather being so cold?
No.
No, it's just, how old is that pump? Like
23 years old.
Okay, and have we ever pulled the rods to do the fittings?
Nothing on any of the times he's been here before, no.
Do you know what the depth of the pump is?
I do.
300-400 feet?
Give me a second here. I know it's going somewhere. The well depth is 311 feet. We have water at 159 feet. So we got water.
So with that variance in resistance and that breaker heating up and that switch, it's definitely the pump is going.
So you'll have an estimate for board meeting?
I was kind of hoping, by the end of the day today, but he didn't do it to me. So.
Okay.
Yep. And I've got plenty of money in my bill for being light on it, so.
Well, it has to be board approved.
Yeah, it's going to be pricey.
Okay. Thank you. Didn't mean to rush you, which is fine.
Nope, I'm done.
Keep it moving. Transportation service?
So quickly, service is going really well. We've had a significant amount of new riders, which is great. Outside of that, going back to the punch card program, in order to make the math work and standardize the purchase amount, we need to make our additional stop $3 as well. If you recall, you all approved $3 one way, $6 round trip, $2 for an additional stop. That won't work for the punch card. And then the other thing is, both of the drivers have asked me, they think it would be very beneficial if we pushed up transportation service hours by half an hour, so starting at 8 instead of at 8:30. Wonder what everybody thought about that.
What's the cost impact for that half hour? How much does that cost us?
In hourly rates?
I mean, if we go from 8:30 to 8, how much does that cost us?
It's hard to tell, because whatever we would make up, whatever we would be spending on payroll with, having service during those times. So maybe not exactly the right amount, but we would be making money during that half hour. You're right, it probably would only be one or two people. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So something that I didn't know as trustee, and now I know because I sit next near Jessica, that phone rings quite a bit. I had no idea how much the transportation was used and how many calls a day she gets. So number one, I wanted to thank you for your service and everything you do for the transportation department. Serving 2 more residents, I think it might be short-term 2 more residents. The things that people want to get out early and get back home early, especially with the population that we serve is usually 55 or plus, and in the afternoons it gets harder to do things. So serving by moving it up, I think it would help the residents by moving it up a half hour. I don't believe that there would be any huge...
Tim is actually asking for it because
it's not going to put him in overtime.
No, especially not because we don't have Little City anymore.
Right.
So,
and we had a Little City run that we were doing that wasn't making sense because it was costing us more than it was to deliver it. So we're trying to make up more of the revenues to cover it. So it's not an outpouring of costs, it's more serving the residents.
And would we shorten it on the other end then?
No, it would just be 8 to 4 instead of 8:30 to 4.
It's a half hour.
It's a half hour. It would just make 10
And so
in the
it's
morning.
going to cost us for drivers an additional half an hour
For one, yes.
for one. I mean, that's something that can be calculated.
Does this impact the community center? Because I know a couple times over the last few weeks they've needed to take Ben to backfill.
So what they've needed Ben for is homework club on a day where one of our bus drivers is sick or on PTO. Because the bus department takes 2 homework club routes, Bay Whitney and Isaac Bucks. So if I'm down a driver, obviously we need somebody to pick up that homework club crew, which is where Ben comes in.
The community center doesn't have somebody who can do that?
Usually, about 90% of the time they do, but on the certain days that I asked for help, they were also very short-staffed due to either illness or PTO.
So doing the quick math on that, with the bus driver, we're talking about an additional $60 per week. Maybe running, say, 2 people at $3, $6, it would cost the township approximately $30 a week or $120 a month, which I think it's not going over budget. There's money in the budget for that. So it's not asking for additional funds. It's utilizing funds that are already there.
Okay.
So
Right,
we're
quick
spending
numbers.
$1,200 for maybe 2 people.
Serving 2 residents is what
I mean,
we're for. I mean, when
Maybe
they're
we should give them a credit card to get a lift.
It would cost them $60.
Pardon me?
It would cost them a lot.
So, yeah, I mean, a lift is, so this would cost them $6. It's costing.
And I'm not saying this is
No, I'm just
wrong
saying,
or
yeah,
right.
it's-
I'm just saying when this was set up 10 years ago or whatever, we all discussed about how this bus thing is going to continue to keep growing way outside our realm. The next thing, we're competing with the CTA and PACE and everybody else that it's gotten so large. I understand because I voted for it. I mean, it made a lot of sense, but it just, we need to keep track of how we continue to keep growing this thing.
Serving our residents.
And it's a huge, I mean, what's our annual budget for transportation?
You have the budget numbers too. I don't have it.
How much is it? How much do we spend on buses?
You have the budget. I don't have it. I mean,
beside the cost of the buses every 3 or 4 years, and the labor and...
so meeting with all the village
it's
administrators in the past month or so, this is one thing that we're always commented. It's just that, and it's not competing against PACE. It's filling in where they fall short.
Yeah, I know. That's why we voted for it. I understand.
That's why you voted for it. We weren't here 10 years ago.
It just, we need to take a look. I know it doesn't sound like much, an extra half an hour, but it's cost.
And I understand that, but if we're serving our residents, that's what we're...
2. I mean, you have to...
We served the little city 1 resident for the past 4 years.
Yeah, I know all about that.
So we cut that out because that wasn't making sense. But if we're serving our residents, this is our first week. We might have 2 now and see where it is 3 months. But if it's not working in 3 months and we're losing money on it, then of course we could reevaluate it. And Jessica's really good at that too. And if it's not being used, then we go back. But I think we need to serve our residents. That is our number 1 goal. And it's not asking for any additional money. It's not putting anyone into overtime. That is what we are here to do.
So he's going to do the extra half an hour for free, driver?
No, he will be paid for his extra half hour. It's not putting him into overtime.
Correct?
That's great.
I'm supportive. I think 8 to 4 is a reasonable time frame to make transportation services available to our residents. I don't think.
And if it doesn't work, we could always go back. And if it's costing too much money, we could always go back.
Especially because don't buses take them to doctor's
Hard to
appointments?
take it back
I
once you
mean,
get...
that's hard to do because a lot of doctors want to see you before 8:30 in the morning.
Well, and the other issue is we're taking a lot of people to work now. A lot of people. with a lot of disabilities that can't drive whose parents are working. You know, I've got young adults working at Goodwill, working at Mariano's, and it gets them out of the house and doing something. And the other thing is, you know, how do you say no? How do you say no?
So let's try it, if everyone is okay, and if it doesn't work out and the money isn't there, we can revisit it. We can always, if it's just 2 people that are using it, we could say there's other options. I say we try it, and I just kind of wanted to straw poll. We're not voting because it's an official board meeting.
I think it's a great way to serve residents, and not that I ever vote, but I mean, even if...
And I understand your concerns, and I appreciate everything you bring up. I think it should be tried. If it's out of hand and it's not doing anything, then of course we go back.
I just, you know, and I'm for the bus thing. I always have been. It's a great service for Ely Township. Fantastic. Nobody else offers anything like it. I just think when we make these changes, we need to take a look at what the actual costs incurred, and to say it's only a half an hour, but what does it cost us? We just, you know,
$30 a week.
Just one of those things. How many?
If he does it 5 days, are we talking doing it 5 days a week?
Just, I mean, in the future,
Sure.
we need to take a look. To be
Great point.
physically responsible
Absolutely.
to take a look at what these costs are. Just,
Absolutely.
I'm all for supporting whatever.
I get it. That's a
Just,
great
we
point.
need to ourselves and the taxpayers, we
Absolutely.
need to know what it costs.
Absolutely.
Is it?
Okay. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Historical Society and Museum, they are participating in the Chamber of Commerce Wine Walk, if anybody's doing that. Support the Chamber of Commerce. They're doing it on their own. We're not paying for anything. They're doing it. They are participating in that. And JT Cemetery, just update, there was a burial on Monday. JT was out of town. He sent an email to the highway, make sure everything was there. Everything was handled fine. It was emailed to the entire cemetery board, and he didn't hear back from anyone to cover it during that time.
So we're at.
Nope.
Item
That was
eight?
the cemetery report.
We're at 7K.
I see. Okay.
That was the cemetery report. So, and JT had a large report in the last packet. He's doing a fantastic job.
Well, for the Historical Society, did they ever give us their financial statement? That was fine for us to take a look at?
I'll look at them. Jessica, we could do that. Thank you, Finance Committee.
I knew it was promised, I guess.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
It's written on parchment paper with detail.
Right.
Remember the sticky? Okay, so we're at 8, topics for discussion. And this is what we've spoken about a few other times, dissolving the Ely Township Cemetery Board, paid staff, and establishing a voluntary Township Cemetery Board. So it's still having a Township Cemetery Board, it's just going from a paid position to a voluntary position.
And why are you requesting the change? Why?
As I had said in the last COW meeting, I don't think you were in attendance, I gave out all the board meeting minutes. There's not a lot of participation by the board to have it be a paid position. When he says he's out of town, there's no one that comes. When we do the wreaths, when we did the holiday wreaths, when we did the flags, no board members participate in there. We're paying people who aren't doing anything besides showing up to one meeting a year. And I think it would be better served by volunteers than paying this position.
On paper, you say there's only one meeting a month, but if you look at the multiple meetings at the sites, meeting with people that have, I mean, there's more meetings than the annual meetings. Just to let everybody know that.
Mr. Bowman, if you want, I brought the last 5 years of meeting minutes with me, if you'd like.
But I'm just saying,
The most there's been
did you get a call
2 years.
on Sunday, if somebody that's died or whatever, and the funeral home director, who was part of the organization, would contact one of the other members and they would meet with the families? That's not in here.
But she
They
just
don't do
said
that.
that JT
They
emailed
do
them.
it.
She just said JT emailed them all and got no response.
No.
I mean, JT is the one who speaks with the families. It's not.
So you think you're going to get a better support from, you don't have to pay a group? You're going to
I'm
get
not saying better report. I'm just saying if they wanted to do that, we could have a voluntary board.
And to be clear, you're not saying you're going to get better results. You're essentially saying she's going to get the same results. That the people who are showing up for the meeting aren't doing anything aside from showing up for the meeting.
I'm 110% against dissolving this board as it exists. Maybe you need some new members in it, but they should be paid people to run this organization. We've spent too much time in the past of getting this organized and running really well, where it's a good cemetery system, and now we want to go to a voluntary system. 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to be patching up all the holes and the issues that we've had in the past.
That's what JT
This does not make any sense.
Can I ask a question?
Excuse me, let me finish. JT was cleaning up a mess. That was the prior person who was handling it and the board that was there. There was mismanagement of grave sites. There was mismanagement of everything. JT has a wonderful handle on things. Look at his report from the last board meeting. He has been doing wonderful things without any assistance from the board at all. The board does not meet with any people who pass away. They either come into the office, Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, and they meet with JT.
Right. Okay, I'm just saying how it really works.
Do you have
I'm
proof of this?
100%
Because I
against it.
passed out, excuse me, Trustee Goldman, I passed out the meeting minutes from the past 5 years.
Yeah.
We go to these meetings and they barely talk, Larry. Honest to God.
They do
These
not.
cemeteries represent a lot of people from this community, taxpayers and some, and to dissolve, and it should be at least a 3-person board, given the respect to run these cemeteries in a proper manner instead of turning it over to a volunteer board. It just absolutely does not make any common sense in running any kind of organization.
Larry, you haven't been at a meeting. They're not doing anything.
Okay.
I want to get new people in who are interested in doing
on the
something.
record right now to just say in the future we're going to have a lot of problems with this, that the highway department is going to get thrown into to help resolve. It's not a way to run a business.
This isn't a business, it's government.
So the thought process of dissolving versus replacing these board members with here are your duties, and thank you very much for the other ones. You haven't been doing it, so we don't need your services anymore. Let's bring on.
This is the only committee that is paid through the township.
Pardon me?
It's just a question I've always had is I'm not sure why this is the only committee, public serving committee, that is paid by the township. We have a historical society that's unpaid. We have different committees that we have within here that residents are able to join, and it's the only paid one. And I haven't seen, in my past 4 years as a trustee, in this past 9 months as supervisor, a committee that doesn't serve any function, and they're being paid for it.
I mean, we're calling it a committee, but it is an organization like the health group is, the highway department, the assessor's office, the seniors program. The cemeteries it's more than a committee. It's an organization of a function of one of the businesses in Ely Township.
Would it be analogous to the Historical Society?
Pardon me?
Would it be analogous to the Historical Society, how that operates, or?
I can't hear. So.
Would it be analogous to the Historical Society as how they operate?
Similar to the Historical Society.
Right, no.
What's your question? My question is, you brought up with the budget.
It's a different organization than the historical is. We're talking about a lot of more state laws, county laws, people's lives, property management. I mean, just
and that's why we have
keeping up to date what cemeteries do.
That's what Jessica and JT do. And because we didn't have that in place in the past, when they took over, we do have a system now.
I disagree with that. I don't think the system's ever gone away. And this is going to end up being thrown on the board to take care of a lot of the management of it from a volunteer committee. It just won't work. And
that's my apprehension, and I don't want anything additionally thrown on top of it, our responsibilities as trustees, to now delve into a cemetery operation, which
being on Channel 7 News
I don't know the ins and outs of.
Yeah, Bonnie, you can tell her.
I was just going to say, like you were saying about the buses, how it's going to cost us and the services we provide. The buses provide service to a lot of our residents on a more annual, more daily basis than the cemetery board does. And you were worried about that payment, but yet for a board that doesn't answer to emails, they don't respond when things are needed, you're okay continuing to pay them.
No.
And if you're, now let me finish. Larry, let me finish. I let you talk. Now let me talk. You said it's similar to assessor's office employees and health and wellness employees, then maybe they need to log into our time system and punch in and punch out every day so that we know the work that they're doing. Because that's being responsible to taxpayers. We're spending their money. This is why I didn't want my employee who isn't sure that he wants to stay working at the assessor's office to take classes, because it's not responsible when I'm spending somebody else's money. And that's all I think Lori is saying, is we need to be responsible with the money that we're approving to be spent. And she's saying they're not doing anything, so why don't we make it a volunteer position, so that way if they're not doing anything, they're not getting paid for it. And the work falls on JT again anyways.
So who's going to take and make sure that we're up to date in all the state, county laws?
JT is doing it.
Who is?
JT is doing it. JT handles all of that.
If you look through the minutes, it's most...
And he's going to be a volunteer?
No, JT is paid. He's paid.
Okay.
JT is our cemetery
And
manager.
who does he report to?
He reports to me.
If you look through the meeting minutes, it is like 90% JT talk.
I'm just, it should have a three-person board.
Well, think about it when in the
and cost, and making a cost comparison to, if you look at what townships are supposed to do, what our guidelines are, and you make a comparison, I'm worried about the budgets, about the buses and stuff. I'm not worried about the budget. I'm understanding cost. What cost does it incur to the value added? That's what I'm saying. I didn't say anything about costs. And by what the other thing is, buses aren't under the edict of township government.
Okay, so let me put it to you this way. If you like numbers, how many people in the township die on a monthly basis?
I don't know.
Just take a guess. I don't know.
But if one dies,
let's say
if one person dies,
let's say
it's
five.
important to that one person who
Let's say
died.
it's 5. How many of those people get buried at a township cemetery? How many burials do we do in a month?
I'm not talking about costs.
But
I'm
you're
talking about running it as a business.
You're-
You know how many state... Okay.
Okay, so
businesses that don't make money don't make clothes.
okay. There's also the fact too that Fairfield full. I mean, there's not new things going in there. The Fairfield Cemetery is full, and like Zurich probably has 12 to 15 spots available, so it's close to being full. So Scattergarden is overflowing. What would you want to see the board to do? I don't think it's the best use of taxpayers' dollars being paid to people who show up at a meeting, sit at a meeting, and leave. That's it.
One thing, I'm disappointed with what you just reported to us as far as emails sent out, because the manager is gone and no response from a board member.
None.
That's not responsible.
I mean, that's an employee who gets fired.
How long has it been since
Like-
the emails were sent out? Has it just been like one day?
It was Monday, the most recent one.
Okay.
And also, Larry, I wanted to say, I don't know if you know this or not, but Carol Sullivan is stepping down. So we have to replace one member regardless, whether that matters or not.
I know JT is the kingpin and the guiding force of this.
Can I ask a question?
Before and after he left and then came back.
I'm sorry, continue. I'm sorry. Can the existing board members, Carol stepping down, can the existing board members continue if they so choose on a volunteer board? So that we're not firing them. Okay, thank you.
Although why would we want them to be volunteers if they're not doing the work when they're being
We
paid?
could get more people to be involved, but having newer people come to an existing board where they just sit and, okay.
Carol Sullivan's done it as far as one.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just want to see it flourish. I want to see JT to have more support. I remember before JT was hired and the previous cemetery manager, I remember all the work Gloria was doing too. She took every call. She was at everything. I mean, she did a ton of work before JT was hired. The board did nothing while there was no cemetery manager. No one stepped in to make the calls, to meet with the people. Gloria did everything. And I want to make sure JT has a support system so that when JT decides that this is no longer for him, he has a board that supports him, and we possibly can mentor someone or encourage someone to possibly take over when JT is gone. In the current board that we have now, so they choose, I don't see that happening. So that is...
My suggestion is JT gets 2 more board members to continue the board member program and not a volunteer program. That's
so
my
you want to add
personal feeling.
$1,000? You want
Doing
to
it the
$1,000?
professional way instead of asking for volunteers. There's a lot of restrictions and JT hopefully is on top of it, but having a 3-person board, a minimum 3-person board, there's checks and balances to the program. And to Doug's point, he doesn't want to, or any of the other board members want to be involved in being responsible for state laws. And, you read about it all the time about what's going on with cemeteries in the state of Illinois.
Yeah, private cemeteries.
A lot of lawsuits flying.
Private cemeteries.
And for the money that we're saving, I think it's ridiculous. I think we should do it professionally.
We're paying people.
We should do it professionally with a 3-person, this is my opinion.
Sure.
3-person board that they're paid, and JT's running it. Good guy. I know him very well. Very, very organized. He needs help, I think, and 2 other members. And we set up the guidelines on how it should be run. That's my opinion. And a volunteer
You want a
system.
4-person board or?
Pardon me?
You want a 3-person, 4-person, 5-person? What do you want?
I think a minimum of 3. You understand why 3?
No, I got that.
5.
But then you said you wanted to add 2, and I just was confused.
A minimum of 3-person board,
Okay.
JT being 1.
Oh, you want him on the board?
Yes.
Because he's not currently on the board. There's 3 members. 3 members were paying, plus
He
JT.
pretty much runs it. So, I mean,
He doesn't pretty
it's a
much
matter
run it.
of phraseology. He's on the board or not. I mean, he's getting paid.
Well, in all fairness, the amount of money that we're paying these board members is so little compared to the cost of living in the Newell Township. It's not enough to get them off the couch and in the cold weather to do anything.
It should be raised. And I brought that up before. And you're talking about increasing JT's salary, right?
Well, yeah, using the money that we're saving from paying these board members who don't do
I
anything.
think, again, just my opinion, being professional at it and doing it the right way, is that we have a 3-person board and JT's entitled to a raise, whatever and pay. The board would have to agree upon what the additional board members would be receiving, but I think that's the professional way to do it, not volunteers.
I don't know. One final thought from me. Like, if JT is technically a paid employee and reporting to Lori, you don't need to have a board supporting it, because ultimately...
You do in the law, you do need a board.
Because it's a cemetery board. But if we dissolve that...
If we dissolve it, so...
Yeah. So we need to have a board in place.
Okay.
It's just a question of are they compensated or not.
Okay.
I still come back to why don't we replace these board members rather than not doing what they're supposed to be doing?
So part of the problem with that is there's no guidelines in terms of like or like
And then you're going to ask for volunteers with no guidelines.
Well, so that would be part of the resolution. So the plan we're proposing is to draft 2 resolutions. The first one is to dissolve the current board as it's made up, and then create a cemetery board where there would be, terms for the trustees, because that currently doesn't exist. And more formalizing what we have in place. It's just a matter of are they compensated or not. because we're not deciding anything today, we don't have to.
Right, it was just a discussion point, just views, and I appreciate everyone's views and time to look at it, so thank you. I don't think we need to discuss this any further. 2026 strategic proposal.
Sure. So the most recent strategic plan that the township participated in was a revamp in that of the previous strategic plan, and that revamp happened in 2021. And so what we're proposing is creating a new plan starting with the next fiscal year. So we reached out to 3 providers. NIU was the organization that did the most recent strategic plan for the township. MGT was the organization that we contracted with to do the salary study, and then TESCA came recommended from multiple other townships. And so on my one-page summary there, it basically breaks down the cost estimate. The big question would be is if we're going to do this, what engagement level. So there's like the standard where they would come and just speak to the board, but then there's also add-ons, if you will, which would include internal stakeholders, so staff members and department heads would be included in that process. And then if we wanted to go as big as, cast a bigger umbrella, we could also include external community members, so maybe the public, community leaders, those types of things. So that's what we would kind of need to gauge out.
So what are you looking for?
One, are we interested in revamping and having a new current strategic plan in place? Because like I said, the last one that was done was in 2021. If yes, then at what engagement level, and then which vendor? And so then this way, what we would do is we would incorporate this into the next fiscal year's budget. So when I'm reaching out to these vendors, I let them know that we're looking at an April start date, so it coincides. Because this was not budgeted for out of this current fiscal year, so we would ensure that it's allocated.
You interviewed all these companies?
I met with all 3.
And what recommendations do you have?
Well, NIU would probably be my recommendation, being that this is what they specialize in, and it's who we've used in the past. And I personally have experience with NIU. When I was at the county, they helped with our departments. So.
And they had the most best meeting with you?
Yes. Were you involved in it? I can't remember if you were.
I was. I did NIU and TESCA. I believe you took MGT on your own.
That's right.
Salary studies, yeah?
The MGT was the salary study.
No. We're talking about the strategic plan. Is it to do another salary study?
No. It's to,
the plans for the next 5
years. Yeah. But focus our efforts and,
So the last, 2021 was a 5-year plan?
It's in your books that we put. It was an update to a previous plan. So I went to a meeting, and I don't think you were on the board yet. That it was just an update. We met at the community center, some new ideas, and they never got incorporated because we couldn't. It was too short of a time. We didn't budget enough time for it. So the last comprehensive one, I think, was probably. So that was an update in 21. The last one was probably done in 2018, Larry. I'm not sure.
This is March, fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 22, so it was not 5 years.
And that was, yeah.
So what we have now is outdated.
Okay. So we're due is what you're saying.
Exactly. We are due for one, yes. And so I am proposing that we include it in the next fiscal year budget. Okay. And I just, we have to engage with them prior to them starting. And so we can get on their books and start shortly after.
I'm not sure that I see the value in this sort of strategic plan. Like, what exactly are we hoping to get out of this plan?
Yeah, so strategic plans, especially in governments, are utilized to help focus goals and budgets. And so you project out, what we want to see, and where do we project health and wellness to be in the next 5 years? What do we need to do to get there? And we would do that at a department level, and then as a township as a whole. So they are very common and they are very valuable. I would recommend that we update our current.
Any company you work for has a strategic plan. It's not you just don't come to work and answer the questions of the day. You're always going towards a goal. So it has to be goal-driven, and we don't have a current goal-driven plan.
I guess, well, I mean, like health and wholeness, like we are thinking about like what is this next year going to be already, and I guess what does having this specific goal change?
Did you look at the one that was in the book originally? It kind of talks about your mission statement, your vision statement, everything you're doing to as a township and what you're working towards.
Yeah, it's defined in the operations of your entire organization at the department and then at the township level. So while you're right, we do have limited conversations, but these are meant to help steer those conversations, and so it helps keep us on track. So
instead of just looking through the end of the year, you're looking in the next 5 years, so you know where you're growing to.
Okay. All right.
Is there any other comments? Questions?
Can we go back to cemetery real quick?
Sure.
As I read those minutes, I mentioned to you, these people didn't pay, and they get a gravesite, and then we have to chase them. Can we have some policy put in place that this is paid before we dig a gravesite?
I believe what you're referring to is the woman whose check bounced, and
There was a couple of them,
Okay, I'm only aware of one, but I haven't been doing this very long. But I know JT's tried to reach out to her several times to get a replacement check. We've tried to send her certified letters. No.
But just so I'm saying, our control should be, that never should have happened, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have, we need to change the procedure here to make sure it's paid for.
Before we put them in the ground.
Right, exactly.
Are we going to need to get collections agency involved?
How much is it for? Like, how much would it cost? A regular check read? How much was
We're getting in on the minor details of the So we will work on
procedure is what he's
Yeah,
talking
right.
about.
It's not dollars.
procedure. So strategic plan proposals. MDT we have experience with. This is their fee, knowing that they did all this research on us last year as well. So it's starting from scratch with them. That's what I was.
But it's MGT, that's what we use for the compensation study?
Right.
Okay.
yeah, this is like it doesn't necessarily have anything to do like there's no overlap, but so yeah, so it would be starting from scratch with any of the three vendors.
Not from scratch, because MGT, part of the salaries is part of what you're looking at for future as well, and where you're growing and how we're staffed. So they do have a little bit of background on it. But we could share that with them.
Strategic like, so this is on the department levels, I guess, asking you guys, the department heads, like, how have the strategic plans been useful to you guys?
We haven't had one.
Right, but we've had them in the past.
It's not since before 2021.
Oh, okay.
So everyone's handled. And that's another reason why you do it, is because we have a lot of new staff and management.
Okay.
New board.
Apologies.
Good questions. Good questions. So do people feel that this would be useful to board members? Just a straw poll, if this new strategic plan should be considered for the next year's budget? Do you think it would be useful?
Yes.
We need to have a roadmap ready to go.
And you're not sure?
I'm sure, but it's already majority. So.
Okay. So what would be the next step? Vote on it in the board?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would just be incorporated. We don't have to vote on this first, like separately, from because it would just be at this point incorporated in the budget. But I would just need to know which vendor to reach out to get on their schedule.
Do you have questions on vendors, or do you want to have a separate meeting on that, or would you like to see the information that they provided said, or what would you like to make? Let's keep it to one conversation. What would you like to do to decide which vendor? Do you want to go on Todd's recommendation, or what does the board feel? Larry, what more information would you like to have? before picking a vendor, or would you like to just entrust Ted with it? Or Doug or Kelly?
To be clear, the dollars go into the budget, but we still need to then vote on executing when we make a decision to move it forward, correct?
Yes, so what I will do, so the step-by-step plan would be, if we went with NIU, I would contact NIU, I would be on their schedule. And then come April, add an agenda, on the agenda, there would be an item to approve engaging NIU for the process. And then after we get board approval, we would then engage.
Would we need to make a decision on the vendor now, or could we put an estimate in the budget? And then
We would vote on the budget in March,
Yeah.
so the money would be there. Whether we choose to do it after April
Yeah.
is a decision on that board.
It would just, if I don't reach out to them until April, then we would just delay the process. But there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but yeah.
Do we have any sort of broad estimate for how much it would cost?
It's on the
It's
sheet.
in the sheet.
I grabbed that. Sorry.
So, I would say put in $20,000. We could always go with something lower next year, just to earmark it. We could vote on it next year, get a little bit better, but to plan for it for next year in the budget. Is everybody straw poll, not voting? Is everybody okay with that? So we will be talking about the budget at the next COW meeting, which will be February 25th. Thank you.
Was there a decision made on the providers so that we can get on the agenda? Okay.
If anybody wants any further information before we make a decision, please reach out to Ted and he can share that with you. Community Center renovation architectural proposal. Ted, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so as we discussed, the township received $100,000 from Representative Syed's office to renovate our community center. And so the first step of that was we had two architects come out. One of them, DLA, is the architect that was working with Virgilio for the staircase project. And the other one, Wold Architects and Engineers, came via a recommendation. Those are the only two that I've heard back from. DLA is based out of Zurich, and Wold is based out of Palatine. Both firms in their bids offered similar scopes. They'll do design, assist with the RFPs, and oversee general construction questions. Once we get to once the bid is accepted and the general contractor is hired, they kind of take a step back, and as construction issues are then on the hands of the general contractor. The GLA quote came in at $8,000 plus incidentals with a 20% markup.
20% markup is on incidentals or
on incidentals, correct. And then Wold had quoted us with $10,000 plus incidentals with no markup, and they have a $1,500 cap on markups on incidentals. So travel costs, meal, after-hour phone calls, things that are outside of the regular scope. So the Wold, as I mentioned, they would have no markup on the incidentals, and they cap their incidental expenditure at $1,500, meaning the Wold quote caps out at $11,500, where the GLA quote, while initially cheaper, there is the potential exists that it could get more expensive. However, it would be surprising if their markups total more than $3,500, but
It's a 20% markup, so that's $1,600. So it's $9,600 plus incidental.
$8,000 base. $8,000 base.
Yeah.
Plus incidentals with the 20% markup.
We don't know if there's going to be any.
Yeah, so I don't know what the incidental. So if it's $100 in gas, they're going to charge $120.
Oh.
So whereas Wold would charge us $100 for the gas, it would cost them $100, but they capped that at $1,500. So if they spent $1,500 in gas, they're billing us $1,500.
Okay.
If Wold spends $1,500 in gas, they're charging us $1,500 plus 20%.
Not to exceed $1,500.
Exactly.
The first one is the Laser Company, right, the GLA?
Yes, and he did the drawings for this year.
Yeah, and he has a relationship with the city. With the city.
It's nice to use local companies.
I don't have a ton of experience in this, but I don't know how many incidents LCP and distracting cops if you look, because he lives in my third. I mean, it really looks like it's probably going to be right around the same cost, and if we could keep it within Ela Township, I would sway that way. And just let him know that we are not looking to get any incidentals and to keep it at a minimum.
Yeah.
You know, just to be explicit with him. But he seems like a really good guy.
So then there will be a vote at the next board meeting.
Last thing is, really quick, I know you guys, when you were reading everything about the accounting and the finance, in our last program it has civility pledge, which I just thought was great, and I asked everyone to print it out and to sign it. So I just have it if everyone can sign it before we leave, and we can frame it and put it up there. It's just something that the TOI asked us to do in the last Perspective magazine. I thought it was a nice program. If I don't get your signature today, I'll hunt you down again. So,
Can I break it out tomorrow? I'm sorry.
It's right here.
Oh, thank you.
No. So that's it on the civility pledge. Any questions about that? Okay. New business. We didn't hear of any. Is there any new business anybody needs?
No, we talked about that earlier.
I didn't get a response about the flooring quote, by the way, so I would just assume.
All right. Well, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, you're right.
I gave you all 3 quotes.
You're right.
I know.
So quickly, I did receive 3 quotes. So one,
What's not on the agenda?
it's under new. It's under new.
He was going to talk about it.
Yeah. So we didn't include on the agenda because we were still waiting for a quote. So we received 3 quotes to resurface the flooring at the town hall. We have $20,000 in our budget this year for it. That number was just kind of randomly selected without any vendor reach out, and so the 3 quotes that we do have came in considerably higher than the $20,000 we have earmarked for this year. One bid came from Epic Building Group at $35,700. Experienced Flooring is a base of $33,650 with the potential to add on the upper level conference room if we wanted to include that for an additional $3,100, so that's $36,750 from them. And then S&R Flooring, their base was $27,232, and then with the options of $6,136, so $32,000 as well. So this again would be a budget discussion for next year.
Just going in with numbers. Okay, so that's it. We'll have a summary sheet for you with that in the board packages to discuss. Is there anyone needing to go into executive session for any reason? No? We can't.
No.
Okay, so the next town meeting is on February 25th at 4 p.m. That will be a budget meeting, talking about the budget. We'll be having meetings throughout February. If anybody is interested in attending another committee meeting, talking about the budgets at each committee level. Finance, I know your budget is going to be hard, but...
What day is the meeting? 15th?
25th.
25th.
I won't be here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Committee meeting for the community center, the
18th.
I'm sorry, what?
The committee for the community center meeting is the 18th. So
Yes,
we'll talk about it.
8:30.
Yeah.
We'll have a list of that. Have it included in Friday's email, so if anybody wants to attend any other meetings, you can do that. So, no one else has anything. I just need a motion.
Yes.
Okay, so can I have a motion to adjourn? Need a second.
You can do that all in favor? All in favor? Aye. Okay, in favor? That was motion by Robert, and second was, thank you, Doug.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your input. I really appreciate it.